to my channel. Today's video is going to be on how to get noticed. So I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and a lot of tutorials out there that do explain ways that you can make money. And I've actually done some of these videos and tutorials myself, where we talk about a lot of different ways to make passive income, a lot of different skills that you can get on board to make income from that. But we don't always talk about how to actually get noticed by industry professionals. I think that's a really big key factor that sometimes I don't always find in these video tutorials. And I've often spoken about passive income a lot in the past, and I think that's important to an extent. I really want to go through with some ways and some tips to get noticed and really tell you what the important things are that you should probably focus on if you're looking at getting more work from commercial photography in general. So I think there's different terms and different things that we can look at in terms of how to earn money from fashion photography. I think first though, before we look at actually how to get jobs, how to get clients, we need to look at building the foundations of what you need to have in place before clients can kind of start to notice you and see your work. And I think that I just want to go through some important things today that explain that a little bit better, but also just tell you guys how to actually go about getting a client if you really want to get a client. And that's not always the easiest thing to explain without those foundations first. So I want to go through that first with you, just so you guys understand the whole picture. I think the first way I'm going to talk about getting noticed today and how you can really attract clients to your work is by having good retouching. And I think good retouching is so undervalued at times that some photographers just choose not to do their own retouching, which is totally fine too. A lot of photographers out there are so busy with jobs and with work that sometimes you just don't always have time for retouching. And a lot of people don't really like it either. I think it becomes a chore for some people. They're more in tune with the photography side of things, so it makes sense that maybe retouching doesn't get as much of a look in. However, I would say that having good retouching, for me in particular, with being a beauty photographer and doing a lot of up-close work, has made a huge difference in how clients have actually seen my work. And I've often gotten work just for retouching because of really working and honing in on that skill and making sure that it's the best that I can make it be. So I think that one thing that actually attracted my agent to contacting me was the fact that I had my retouching in check and that I was really pushing forward with that and making sure that I was improving that all the time and perfecting it. So I think that that's really important. If you want to have your work noticed, having a good retouching aspect to your work is great. And also earning money from retouching as another skill set is such a good thing to do. And a lot of fashion and beauty photographers out there can definitely earn money from retouching as well as from their photography as well. Earning money from retouching actually allows me to charge more for a photo shoot, because the way I charge for photo shoots is basically having my half day or daily rate and then also charging for that extra time that it takes to retouch my images. And most of the time my clients want me to retouch the images, so that's extra money essentially that I do end up getting in the end. So it's definitely up to the individual photographer, and like I said, retouching is not always an interesting thing and it's not always the best part of doing photography or being a photographer, and some people may prefer to just sort of shift that over maybe to someone else in the field. But that's always an option if you're struggling with maybe getting other jobs specifically from photography. Retouching is a whole nother realm that sometimes isn't always looked upon as highly, but it's definitely very lucrative and it can hold you in very high esteem with clients too. So the second way I'm going to talk about particularly getting noticed and actually going after clients is by pitching. Pitching is a really important part about having your own business as a fashion, commercial, beauty photographer. I think it's a very, very important thing to do if you really want to get clients, and you really have to know who you want to pitch to as well, like by writing down those brands that you really want to work with and then start pitching to them your ideas or the fact that you're a photographer in the area or you're a photographer that loves the work, and maybe potentially look at organizing a collaboration with these brands as well. And first off, it's more of a way to show them what you can do. And a lot of the time you do end up getting clients from that in the end. Sometimes it doesn't always happen, but sometimes it's worth the shot as well. Even to say you collaborated with that brand to other brands, it's a great way to do it. And I'm not talking about doing free work for people. I think there's a huge difference between pitching and collaborating with a brand to doing free work that's been asked of you. I think you have to make the ground rules very straightforward from the start of what you're going to do and what you're not going to do with these brands. But I think pitching's got to be one of the best ways to get yourself out there and to actually start making contacts within the industry. Pitching I would usually do by sending a very professional email to whoever the contact email address I am sending it to is, through a brand or a contact that I found out through someone else. Usually I'll spend quite a bit of research time online trying to find contacts that I can email to in those situations, and sometimes that's just what you have to do to get those email addresses. So I think another thing that comes along with that is doing test shoots and treating them as if you're working for a client or you're working for a brand or it is an actual job. I think one of the ways that I started to pick up beauty photography clients was just by doing more skincare related work in my portfolio. And they were all test shoots that I originally did. I did a bunch of test shoots where I would do the first few shots as just being very barefaced, clean skin, and just experiment with like a few blobs of skincare like ointment or moisturizer and that sort of thing, and start experimenting with different ways that I could take photography in that realm. And then I would have that in my portfolio, so if any skincare clients or any skincare brands did actually see my work, then they could see I had potential in that arena. I think it's a really important thing to do is to start working on test shoots as if you're working for a client or a job, and start looking at those sub niches. For beauty photography, a sub niche would be skincare or jewelry, or it could even just be makeup. It could be hair care as well. So there's a lot of different things that I could potentially do under the umbrella of beauty photography, and the same goes for fashion and commercial photography. There's lots of subgenres out there that you can kind of gear your work towards to show that you can actually do it in your portfolio. So with that, I want to go on to tagging these brands on Instagram. Whenever you're posting your new work on Instagram, I think the best way to get a brand's attention, specifically with beauty photography, but it can go for anything really in the photography realm. Specifically, I would always tag makeup brands, skincare brands, anything that's been used on the model's face you can tag. I haven't been doing that recently. I've been a little bit more selective with the brands that I have been tagging, to not cross over too much and not make it too much of a competition between all the brands, just kind of being a little bit more specific with who to tag in my Instagram posts. At one point I did a shoot using an Innisfree mask, and I actually tagged them through Instagram as well, and they responded and actually said how beautiful they thought my work was. So I think that's a really great way to start getting yourself noticed, is by doing that, and it's a really great marketing move that doesn't take much. It's really just as simple as tagging a brand or a product in your Instagram post. And along with that point, I think it's really important to always be posting new content to social media. I can't tell you guys how much interest I've gained from just being consistent with posting on social media and posting my work. And always having new work to post, I think, is very important. Making sure that I am doing a lot of test shoots from time to time, and I am having that flowing work coming through with Instagram, especially even YouTube. It definitely helps to get your work out there onto social media. I know I didn't want to go too much into social media in terms of getting noticed here, but it is a very big platform these days to help get noticed and help your work really find its feet. So I think that's a very important point there. And then my last point on being noticed is consistency and confidence. And confidence is not always something that's easy to snap up just like that. It takes a while, and it does take time to be confident within your own work, but I think when people can see that you're confident within your own work and your style that you've created, that definitely attracts clients to you, and they can see that they're going to probably hire you for your style, your confidence, the fact that they know you can be consistent with your work if you've developed that consistent style. And it's just something that I think really does attract brands and clients. So I think that's always something to remember, is consistency and confidence. Sometimes even if you don't have the confidence, faking it sometimes can be the best way to go, and I have done that on previous occasions. It's very hard as an introvert especially, but I think it's doable for anyone to get on that bandwagon of being confident. And I think that's really important, is to always know that you're improving with your work and you're striving for better and being consistent and confident in that. So guys, I really hope these tips will help you if you're looking at getting noticed by potential commercial clients in the future. And I hope that it's sort of provided more of a foundation as to how you would start getting jobs from clients with these tips. I really hope that does, because I didn't want to make this video all about just earning passive income through YouTube or through sponsorships or anything like that. I want to actually give you guys a bit of direction on how to start attracting clients and to get them to look at your work basically. So guys, if you have any tips for this topic, please put them in the comments section below, because as always, I think it's great for beginners to see other people's tips as well, and it's good for them to look through the comments and see what others have to say too. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can see all of my future videos, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!